Okay.
Harry Barton, UAL, level 3 games, no not game, digital design and animation. My project is around sport and animation, which are like two interests of mine. So the overall question is, how can animation be used to sell a product or narrative for a sport-oriented audience? I've been influenced by brands like Nike and Adidas because I really like their adverts and the way that they promote their products using animation. And although it's not sport, Apple has been quite a big influence on like, the way that I think about our work. And I think Banksy has like sort of inspired me to sort of think about how my work can change people's perspectives on certain like industries and etc. So that's like one of my mission statements. And another one is another thing that I want to do in my project is use the power of storytelling to sort of increase the positivity of a society. I know it's like quite a big target, but I want to sort of improve the way people perceive sport because I think it has quite a bad rep in like today's world. So for the project, I'm going to be using social media, articles, books, online video, and also like TV broadcasting to look at how animation is used in the way that they portray the content, so products and sport in general. And I'm going to be starting with just a basic question, as in how animation is used in the industry, and then I'm going to be going into things like how it changes the experience of like the average fan, and what kind of styles and techniques are trending at the moment. So once I have my findings from my research, I plan to actually create my own animation that will inform an audience about the history of the World Cup in football, and I actually hope to sort of show this to both people who do and don't like sport. So it informs a different audience. So I'll be using social media as well as focus groups and questionnaires, because from past experience I feel like these types of evaluation have been like the most effective for what the work that I do. And yeah, so the target market for my animation would most likely be people between say 15 and 25, so quite a young audience, but I also, as I said before, want to show it to people who do and don't like sport, so I can get like a different variety of feedback from the video. And as well, I would like to use almost like a nostalgic kind of marketing style, so I'll be using references to old World Cups, so people of a slightly older age would be able to sort of relate to the video as well. So the requirements of the project would need things like a laptop or some sort of computer, Adobe Creative Suite software, a graphics tablet, and they're things I already have, so that's okay. But in my research I'm also going to be looking for like reference footage from previous events, and I'll also be looking into like copyright laws and regulations, because I think that's quite important, especially like referencing old events and footage that's basically not mine, so I'll definitely be looking into that. And health and safety as well, although it's not like really completely related to animation. I think it's something that I could definitely use throughout the project. And I think in terms of like strengths and weaknesses, what I think the main strength of the project is that I've made the decisions on what I'm doing around my personal mission statement rather than why, and rather than what I actually want to do for practical work, because I think that's what I did last year, and I sort of struggled with that. So I'm really happy that I've been able to sort of direct my project around my why. And in terms of like weaknesses, I'm not completely sure what kind of technique of animation I'll be using yet for my animation, but I'm going to be carrying out like experiments and a little bit of research to sort of figure out which would be most suitable for the project. And in terms of like scheduling, I'm going to be that's my map. I'm going to be over the half term. I'm going to be doing the experimentation so that I'm ready for when we come back, and I know exactly what kind of technique I'll use in the animation, and I'll have the research done for the video that I'll need. Yes, I've got like the 3 weeks there, and that's it. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Harry. On the money.
Thanks, Harry. Do you mean?
Yeah.
Harry, the thing that I really like about what you're talking about is your mission statement, and I think that's great. The one kind of question wrinkle that I've got here is I don't quite feel like your mission statement matches up with what you're trying to do, because your mission statement is all about communities, but it seems like your idea is about football and marketing and promotion for football.
Yeah.
If I was going to be really harsh about it, I would say that football doesn't need any more promotion.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Even in the PR thing, and I think that you're possibly missing a golden opportunity here,
Right,
which is just what I want to very briefly talk about. I don't want to take up too much time, but one of the things that I was thinking that you could consider looking at is something like you're talking about something that's very positive, which is great,
Yeah.
trying to kind of bring communities together and all of that kind of stuff. But looking at things like how the Paralympics has been promoted, which has been absolutely stunning, and looking at things like your mission statement and what you're talking about, but maybe even thinking about some of the sports that have been mired in controversy, like cycling.
Right, okay.
But then what I was thinking, one of the big questions was, could you, instead of promoting big sports, they've already got that, promote things like sport in the community, or activity in the community, and thinking more about connecting all of the great things that you're talking about, and all of the things about actually PR and positive promotion of sports and those kind of things with something like that, because I think that this would be a very real thing that you could do, is actually create a campaign to promote the kind of the power of sport to actually help people on a personal level, on a health level, but also on a community level, and maybe even consider like low-level leagues or groups or those kinds of things, rather than maybe looking at the big stuff.
Yeah, the big like professional teams, just like grassroots, like small local. Yeah,
I mean, you can take some of those things, but there's a lot of rhetoric and glamour and all those things that goes with that. But I think there's so much potential in like, I don't like really using the term, but like a grassroots campaign. And connecting with your community, because if that's what you're talking about, that's your mission statement. There'll be loads of groups around here that will be crying out for this kind of stuff. And you could work with them.
Well, just on that, I mean, do you belong to any clubs or anything?
No, I mean, I used to play like rugby and stuff and a bit of football, so I could like get in touch with some.
Well, that's it. I think finding somewhere, and particularly someone that used to play sport.
I mean, I know like loads of people who play sports. So right now
I think just clubs, like Adam said, though, thinking about the sports that don't get the publicity, and even like I think even local football teams, they do, because that's the sort of the most interesting one. But from my personal perspective, playing sport, hockey, I used to play hockey for a bit, and it didn't get the attention. I knew people that were Olympians, and they have to have second jobs to support their they're in the GB squad. They had to have second jobs to support whatever they did, particularly female players as well.
Definitely.
So I'm going to sort of scrub my questions out if you're going to go towards this, but I mean, even sort of thinking about sort of sub areas of that, so like Adam was saying, sort of like disability, even age, different age groups. So it's usually sort of the kids that sort of are in their prime that kind of get the attention. So the younger athletes, but what about the older athletes perhaps that are still going? And even gender as well, as we know, sort of in sport, it's underrepresented and needs to be pushed as well. So perhaps think about that too. And when we think about, I mean, I suppose this can relate as well, is that what are you hoping to gain from the audience that don't like sport?
It's more like I want them to sort of realise that it's good to sort of take part in a community activity.
Mm.
It's good for like team building and things like that.
That's where your mission statement, all of that, doesn't match up with
Yeah.
the examples that you're looking at.
Yeah.
You know, and
Okay.
it's like you haven't linked those two things
Yeah.
together, and
Okay.
there's a really kind of clear link there,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
would be great. I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's up to you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I think I'm definitely gonna change the practical part of it now.
Oh, okay.
no,
I didn't have anything to
no,
add. It's really good.
no, we should finish if you've got something to say. Then.
Just saying, I think it might be interesting to explore rotoscoping because obviously any
Yeah.
sports-based
Yeah,
thing would be a good.
that's what I was considering. I didn't know whether to do that or just normal like, art effects work.
Well, I'd say
It's-
do
it's-
experiments.
It's
with
not,
it, don't
and it's not
estimate.
binary either.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah, I
either
know.
or.
Yeah, so
you know?
that's what I'm going to be doing in the half term.
Yeah.
Experimenting with it.
That'd be
I
cool.
mean, one of the things that we've talked about, and one of the things that will be a clear part of what you're doing, is the study of movement. We've talked about that. That
Yeah.
animation is, in so many ways, a study
Yeah.
of movement.
Mm.
So, study movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say just like it's approved, but I think rewriting or rewording the proposal for it.
Just to
Mm.
tweak
Okay,
that
yeah,
proposal. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well
Cool.
done, Karen.
Still up there.